I do it all the time. I keep myself muted. Sorry about that. Let me try again. Good. Hello, hello, hello. It's Miss Nena B, your LinkedIn strategist. And believe it or not, I am a techie. I just keep forgetting to unmuting myself when I start this show. But this is the LinkedIn Hotspot Live. It's Thursday night, and tonight's topic is about social proof. So, listen, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about LinkedIn, and she was asking me about the recommendation stuff. Do you really need recommendations? Is that important? What about these endorsements? Do they matter? And I'm like, absolutely, they matter. I know when I check people's profiles, particularly if you are in the job search arena, if you are looking for a job or you are like recruiting someone, that's like special gold sauce that you put on a LinkedIn profile. So tonight I'm going to talk about why those things are important and then how you should be making sure you have that as a part of your profile. So before I get started, as always, I like to just welcome new members of my community. The LinkedIn Hotspot Facebook group is constantly growing. You guys are amazing, and I'm excited and privileged to be the administrator of such a phenomenal group. You guys come from so many different arenas as speakers, coaches, authors, career professionals, all with the common goal of understanding this thing called LinkedIn and figuring out how you can leverage it. So let's talk about social proof. And I'm going to share another quick story. So I guess it was last week. I was in two different meetings at my full-time job that talked about people using LinkedIn. And it's really in the space of being an ambassador for the company. So can you imagine being an employee of a company and leveraging LinkedIn to promote the company's brand? Because you are showing that you are committed to what the company is up to. You support how the company serves the community. And so you're adding your voice to the dialogue by promoting the brand of that company. From a company perspective, it shows that you are supportive of what the company is doing. From a career perspective, I can't give you any stats that it will actually help you get a promotion, but I can tell you it will get your name on lists that may be of value to you as you kind of move up the corporate ladder or extend your career. I don't think it can hurt you. And I'm discovering that because of me doing different things and posting and engaging on LinkedIn around different brands, people are like, oh, I didn't know you worked there. Oh, I didn't know you did that. And so suddenly, I'm getting connections to new people. So when it comes to social proof, what does that mean for you and how do you get it? So tonight, we're going to talk about what is social proof. So, first of all, social proof is a Nena phrase. I don't know if I've ever really seen it other places. It's probably used in other places, but in this context, I use it to say someone else is willing to put their name to say something good about you. So when someone endorses you on LinkedIn, they're basically putting their name on the line to say something about you. When someone puts a recommendation on your profile, they're putting their name on the line. So it is what other people are willing to say about you, and not only say about you, but put their name attached to it. And that's what social proof is all about. In the LinkedIn world with the profile, you can put all this wonderful stuff about yourself in your profile. You can say, I can climb tall buildings in a single bound or anything like that. But unless you get somebody to say, oh, absolutely, I've seen her do it, then, people might question, is that real? So it's about you make sure on your profile, you're saying all these wonderful things about yourself, but social proof in the form of endorsements and recommendations are someone saying, absolutely, I agree. So let's talk about formal and informal recommendations, right? So someone could informally recommend you, and that's what I refer to. It's the endorsements. With the endorsements, what you're doing is you are selecting the skills or attributes that you feel represent who you are. And then people have an opportunity to, right next to it, click a plus sign and say, yep, I agree. Leadership skills. Yep, I agree. Trainer. Yep, I agree. Speaker. Yep, I agree. So this is where people are acknowledging and endorsing your skill sets. You get to pick what's in that list. You get to pick what the top 3 show up on your profile. And then if someone clicks more, they can see more. I think there's up to 50 that you can select. But you want to think about, in this particular season, what are the top 3 I want to highlight? They may change depending on what you're trying to achieve, and you can move them around. So the top 3 are kind of pinned. You can unpin them and pin 3 others, or you can unpin one and add a new one. But you want to start asking people to endorse you so that you can increase the numbers of people that can basically co-sign that you have these skills. Now, that's kind of the informal one, where you have the skill and the number. But the more formal one is really the recommendations. And that's really much more meaty and much more powerful, because it's where people have put together words to describe you, to describe maybe how they know you, what accomplishments either you have done or you have helped them achieve. All of those kind of things people can put in a paragraph or 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs. It's what they want to say, and that's a recommendation. The recommendation, then you get the write-up sent to you through the system, and you get to decide if you want to post it to your profile. Hopefully it's a great recommendation. You definitely want to post it. And then everyone can see it. Anyone that comes to your profile can see it. So you have 2 different sources of social proof right there on your profile: your endorsements and your recommendations. Now, you may be saying, well, Miss Nena B, how do I get these? I would love to have more recommendations on my profile. Don't be shy. Ask people to recommend you. And there's so many different ways and dimensions on how someone could recommend you. They could be a peer. They could be someone you report to. They could be someone you that reports to you. They could be someone that you've done a project with in a volunteer space. They could be someone who's a client of yours. I'm a speaker. I could recommend someone who was an event organizer. Even if it's something like a podcast. I've been on podcasts where the organizer made sure I had all the information I needed, sent me promo images, reminded me of the date, sent me a calendar invite so it was on my calendar. all the things to make it really easy, sent me questions ahead of time, all the things to make it really easy for me to show up in a great way on their podcast. But I've also had the experience when someone invited me to be on their podcast, and I had to put it on my own calendar. And when I'm looking at my calendar, I was like, wait, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something in 2 more days. And I look at my calendar and there it is. And I haven't heard from the person. And then I'm reaching out saying, is this still happening? They're like, oh yeah. Let me get you the link. And I'm like, okay. Do you need anything from me? Or is there any promos? None of that. So that's a distinctly different experience. And so I choose to recommend people who have it all together and provide a wonderful experience. And that's just like speaking on someone's podcast. So there's so many different ways that you can find and reasons to recommend people. And people should be recommending you. So don't be afraid to ask. So if someone is speaking on your podcast, reach out to them and say, hey, I hope you enjoyed your experience in speaking on my podcast. Would you be willing to, I learned to say the language is power. So I've learned to say, is there any reason why you wouldn't be willing to give me a recommendation? Typically people are like, I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't. Sure, I'd love to. Okay, great. Now, what often happens is it stops right there because people get busy and then they're like, okay, what am I supposed to say? How do I do this? What do you want me to do? You have to be prepared to follow up and follow through with them. In some cases, you'll have to say, off of LinkedIn, I would love you to recommend me on LinkedIn. I'm going to send you a request to do that. And if you could comment on your experience with me doing X, Y, and Z, that would be great. That way, you're helping that person, giving them a focus area where you want them to recommend you, particularly if there's areas that you do so many different things and you might have a lot of recommendations in one zone but none in another. So you might want to like gear people into a certain direction so you have a more coverage with your recommendations. But you want to help people along the way. It's not that people don't want to provide recommendations. You usually have to help them along the way and offer that to them. Some people are like, no, I'm fine. I know what to say. If they say, oh yeah, actually that would be helpful, then be prepared to provide them with some guidance. So ask for the recommendation. The same applies for endorsements. Hey, I really would appreciate if you would endorse me for these skills on my LinkedIn profile. I'm really trying to highlight that I have these skills and that I've leveraged them, and I would like that to show on my LinkedIn profile. Now, this is really good if you have peers that you work with and you collaborate with and you do partnerships with, because you can also be asking them, I would love for you to endorse me on these skills. What skills that would you like me to endorse you for? Now, you always want to be in integrity. You always want to be authentic. So if I don't know anything about your surgical skills, I'm not going to endorse that. I may not even happen to know that you were a medical doctor. But if I interact with you and you maybe are a great coach for my son's basketball team, I may endorse your coaching skills, your skills when it comes to working with the youth, things like that. So make sure that you stay in alignment and in integrity in that endorsement. And asking people for endorsement for you, make sure it's something they actually would know about you. So this is what social proof is all about. Let me see if I have any comments. I know we have a small audience tonight. We had a technical snafu, and that was my bad when it comes to streaming into the Facebook group, but it's okay. We'll still get seen. And if you ever have any questions about LinkedIn, um, how to change things on your profile, how do you get more recommendations, how do you get more social proof, you can always reach out to me. I have my community that's open for people to join, and that's the LinkedIn Hotspot Facebook group. And you simply can go to join Miss Nena B to join my community. It's really simple. Just click on that link, fill out a couple of fields, and ask to join. And then you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, Nena B. Abdul Wakil. Please connect with me and drop me a message. Let me know that you saw this broadcast and let me know what you think. Okay, not going to stay on long. This was a quick show. I just wanted to talk about social proof. Hope that was helpful for you. And let's start upping some of those numbers on endorsements. Let's start not only receiving new recommendations, but giving recommendations. Okay. Because when I check profiles, I look at both of those. Is someone willing to say something nice about someone else? Okay. Good tip. All righty. Thank you to the family. Have a wonderful day. Here in Maryland, the temperature has risen pretty warm, but it's this time of the year. So hopefully you're enjoying it. This is Miss Nena B. Have a great evening.